Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. Okay, journals for the charity. This is journal 21. I've gone through and nutted out everything that I want to do within the journals. So this is like the prototype. And in addition, I've prepped as well some of the elements so that my next thing will be to pack each journal with all the goodies that are going to be glued in. So when the girls come over, they can create the actual journal and most of the elements are with the cover ready to go. This will make sense as we sort of work through this video. The next video that I do will be the packing of the journals. So they're not being completed as such, but it's just all the bits and pieces are coming together with each book. So we can literally grab it when we're all together and sort of put it together. So the front of the journal, I haven't created too much of these elements yet because each one will have a different picture. So all I've done at this stage is this little doily folded in half with a bulb pin and a charm attached. And if I grab the container, I've literally got 20 of them in here. And it's just the doily motif folded a little off center and then the little charm attached. So each journal will have a slightly different image. So until we work out that and how big it's going to be and then how much muslin is used underneath the image, really there's not much I could sort of do there, but I have prepped at least all of those. So they're done. Now inside our journal we have the envelope mini journal on the inside cover. So what I've done is I've worked out 2 tags, 6 inches by 3.5 inches, and they're just big enough to slide down into the actual envelope pages. Now they've got different toppers on them because I want the person that receives this to see that you can use all sorts of things to create your tag toppers. So in this scenario, we just got a little bit of folded muslin and then the doily that has been cut in half used on the top with a little stamp and the other half used down here with the word journal underneath it. This is one of the pieces of ephemera that are in the pack that I've included for each journal of random items to be used to decorate the journal. So a postcard has been stitched onto some muslin and then a tag added to the back as a little tuck spot. And then in the back here, I've created another pocket with some more ephemera to go in at some stage. So what I've done in prepping the 20 as well is I've got this little container here and I've created little sets that belong to the front section of this journal. So I'm just going to slide that up and show you what I put together. I just dropped a little stamp on the floor, so I picked it up. So here we have the tag. We have 2 stamps. That is the half cut motif with the word journal attached. So that's ready to go. Here's the toppers for the 2 tags, a half again, that's the other half of that. And then a piece of ripped muslin ready to go. So all it's missing from this pack now is the scrapbook paper cut to size so that the girls can attach all these elements. So at the moment it's sort of getting the elements ready, if that makes sense. And another little tag, that was the one that sits in here. The bunny ephemera is not yet part of the prep because that will adjust according to the color scheme of each journal. So that's sort of the last step. But at the moment, it's the generic ephemera that's going in. It's the same across all of them. So it's really easy to prep then some pieces for the girls to attach to the journals. So that's a little piece of ephemera that I've stitched onto some calico. So I put some glue on the back of it first, glued it down, just the old common glue stick just to hold it. Once it was dry, I then whizzed around with the sewing machine. So that gives the girls some little bits and pieces to be used if I hand them these journals, they can then start the process of decorating the very front section. And as I said, I haven't yet cut the scrapbook paper elements to go through, which will be like the 2 tags and this pocket here, so if that makes sense. So this little pack, I've got them all sitting in here. I have started putting some of them together as in the kits, the journal kit. I think that's a good way to describe it. It's putting together a journal kit for the girls to pick up and finish off. And these are all the little elements to go in that kit. So the next video will be me packing the journal kits, hence why there's a section of them missing. So I'm going to film this video first, which is what we're aiming to build, and the next one is the packing of the kits. So if you are doing a mass production, and you might pick up some tips on the mass production side of things. Now on the signature, the start first page of the signature, we have a cluster of the little butterflies that Gabrielle made, so they're ready to roll. Using scrapbook paper, we've created a double pocket here and just decorated it up with some bits and pieces. The next page is a flip out, as in the page was folded, and I've then attached a piece of artwork ephemera here. Now, in this scenario, I used a picture, but in the kit that the girls will get, I used some generic postcards, and I've sewn down the side of them so they're ready just to glue into position. I'm not doing a artwork one because I'm going to save the artwork ephemera to go in all the pockets to really theme it. So I've created 3 generic flip attachments, if that makes sense. So it's all the same. So when they get to a page that's folded, that will go there. Okay, so if we go a little bit further into the journal, we've got a scrapbook little mini page with some bits and bobs in the pockets. The only thing I'm doing at this stage is I'm going to create that pocket out of the scrap paper. And also here is another postcard, and once again, that's going to be the one onto there. Okay, prepped, ready to go. The girls just have to glue it. Then I've got a series of paper clips through it. So I've put 5 paper clips together, and each kit will have those, and they can then work through the construction of the journal, and they've got their paper clips ready to go. Now, like I said before, the pretty ephemera will come at a later date once we sort of know the theme that's going to be added to it. Might be just be bunnies, might be bunnies and birds, might be just birds, but we'll have a look at the colours and decide that. So each journal will have an envelope, and in the envelope is going to be a heap of ephemera that is left over from what the girls do. So anything that we don't put in will go into this, so that whoever gets the journal has lots of goodies to play with. For example, those little stamps and bits and pieces, we won't use them all. We don't want to decorate the journal too much. We want to give them something to play with themselves. So there's 2 envelopes within the kit. One is attached within the journal itself with the paper clip, and the other one is stuck into a pocket that you'll see at the back on the back page. Now, the music page that was included, I decided to do a little belly band. So underneath there is just a strip of scrapbook paper, and we'll just slide a couple pieces of ephemera in. Now, that snippet comes from a snippet roll that I created a little while ago. I've just scrapped some bits and pieces, and I just wind it onto this big bobbin, and I've just got it handy ready to go. So once I go through and start building the kits, I'll cut off a piece and include that for the girls to use when they put the journal together. So that also shows the person that receives this that they can sort of use snippets from anywhere to decorate their journal. So then we flip through, we got another page that folds out, and of course I've prepped it ready to go. And a few plain pages. We have options to decorate more, but we've got to be a little bit careful because you want to leave space for them to play. But as the girls put these together, if they feel like they've got some little bits and pieces left, they might decide to throw in another little pocket with a couple bits of ephemera. But this is just at least a start, and more than enough as a gift journal with what we've done. Now we're to the center of the signature where I put in a piece of scrapbook paper. So we've got a little cluster that Gabrielle made, paper clip and a little stamp there to decorate the front of the scrapbook page that's in the center of the signature. Now sometimes you'll come across paper that has nothing on the back but a print on the front. So when that's happened, and depending on how we've positioned it in the 20 journals, we may need another pocket here, because if this was white, it just needs a little extra. There can be another pocket added there. So each journal will end up having its own little bit of personality. So I'm now in the center, and because it's all white, I've done a side tuck and then a second side tuck and then some decoration from some fabric on the side. So I've stitched a piece ready to go, and that will be in the kit for the girls to use. And what they don't use down that side, they can use to decorate some of the tags that will also be in the pack. So another double pocket here for some little bits and pieces. As I said before, as I build the kit, my next video will be the cutting of all of the scrapbook paper. So all these bits and pieces that I've already created plus the scrapbook paper will all go together in this journal in the right locations, ready to just be finished off. So that's the plan anyway. At least I've got journal 21 made now, so I've got a bit of a recipe to the project. So on this antique French page, we've just got a piece of ephemera on one of those gold paper clips. I have placed here a napkin that I've glued down with some glue stick and attached this little bird. I did have a second bird, and it is on one of the tags in the front, which I haven't shown you actually. If I pull this tag out, there's the little bird. So we have the option, which I think we will do, is putting some decoupage through it. It'll just add a little bit of texture and interest to the journals, and it's often just a nice pretty little element. I don't want to do too much because they might be a writer, so this sort of makes it a little bit harder to write on a page. But I think we will go through and do a little bit of napkin decoupage through it. So at the moment I haven't planned for it in the kits. It's just there as a bit of a prompt, because there's often pages like this that are very plain. So a little bit of napkin decoupage is an idea, but you sort of want to give them space to work. So we'll see what comes of all that. That's the other side of the music paper. In this scenario, I've kept it pretty simple, where they use a piece of ephemera to create a pocket. And of course, we're giving them a heap of bits and pieces in the envelopes. So that just allows them to do it without needing a sewing machine. All they need is a little bit of glue, and they've now got a little pocket for themselves. So a bit of an idea there for them. Now we've got to the back of the scrapbook paper and I've created a double pocket here. Okay, pretty simple. This is a flip out. Now the others that we've done, the page that it swings on folded over, and then I attached one of these pieces and it flipped out. So if they want to create more space in their journal and it's not a folded page, this shows them how they can do that. So what I've prepped is this postcard with a little bit of doily stitched on the top there. That's the little bit that joins all of the bigger motifs. So I've got hundreds of these, so it's a really good way of using them is tab tops. Bit of the stitched muslin down the side, just glued on, and then all they've got to do is attach it to any page and it becomes a flip. So this shows them that they can add more space to their journal by doing that to some of the ephemera that's in the envelope, if that makes sense. This page here is a white page, so it needs definitely something added to it. So I did a double pocket, a big one and a little one, just with some little bits and pieces in it that they can play with. Some bunny ephemera also has popped up in here as well. Now we're to the back of the journal. Now, because we have this envelope journal at the front, it's quite chunky. We needed something chunky at the back too to balance the journal. Otherwise, you'll find that it just doesn't sit right. So whatever you do thickness-wise, you really should do at the back as well. So what I decided in this scenario, I'll just grab it to the one side here, is I've got a brown envelope, which, not an envelope, it's a bag with a gusset. So I'll trim it down because it's a little bit too big, so I'll cut that top bit off. Then I'll put a decorative piece of scrapbook paper here from all the scraps, that's that green piece. Then we've got a snippet that Gabrielle created, which will sit on the front of that piece of paper. And then with a little bit of glue on the side, we've got a little tuck spot for some little elements. I've then paper clipped some excess stamps that weren't used that they can use. And then because it's gusseted, it opens up beautifully for lots of goodies. So what we're going to do is I've got this piece of ephemera that is just a postcard envelope that's been opened out for somewhere to write. That will slide into the first section of the gusset. And then in the back section of the gusset will be the second envelope full of goodies that we don't use that they can use. So the two gussets sort of help divide it up like a folio. Okay, so they've got the envelope of goodies plus the little piece that I've created, trimmed down, of course, glued on the back with the decoration and some bits and pieces, and of course then comes in that extra paper clip that will hold all of those stamps there. So that's the piece that we've created for the back. So that's pretty much how journal number 21 come together. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we haven't done too much with the front. That is the last thing. That I know it'll be built like this because I've got all these elements. I've printed out some sayings. That stamp is part of everything that's here. And of course I've created that. It's just the image that will come at a later date. So that is where we're at with Journal 21. The next stage is to use this as my my guide and build together a kit for the girls for each of the journals. And in that process, I will cut the scrapbook paper leftovers into pockets that can be stitched and glued in, and then all of these other bits and pieces added at the same time. Okay, so I will finish the video here. The next video will be the packing of the kit for the girls to play with. So thank you very much for joining me. If you did want to keep following with this series and you don't want to miss any, please hit the subscribe button. That lets YouTube know that you want to see anything I do. And then the notification or the little bell will give you a bit of a ping or a message to say that a video from this series has popped up, or a video from me in general has popped up. So that way we'll all keep up to speed on this project. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.